Everybody, welcome to another episode of No Accounting for Taste. This week we're talking about preppers, and guess what we didn't do? Prepping intro. Charlene's in a hurry. Charlene's in a hurry. She's booking most of the Netflix as a Joke Festival. Somehow Kyle and I are not on it. Anyways, guys. Guess if you don't have 250,000 followers and washboard abs, you're not ripe for the job. Anyways.
And you said you didn't prep an intro? That one sounded like you couldn't wait to spit it out. That was great.
I'm a natural athlete, baby. Let's talk about preppers. I want to eat some potatoes out of a bag.
Well, nothing's stopping you from doing it. You don't need the end of the world.
Hal, you're good with words. You know that, man?
I think the gym is dumb.
Did Rachel walk in the room? Of course I'm eating a Baconator.
Man, if you ain't doing CrossFit, you can get crossed up.
You're right. A long burger's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
That's your sitcom right there as a Mr. Fix-It-All who just can't fix his heart.
We will not be defending Atlantic City.
No accounting for taste. If it's something that somebody loves, let's try and celebrate it instead of shitting on it. Head to factormeals.com/NAFT50 and use code NAFT50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. Holy moly.
That's code NAFT50 at factormeals.com/NAFT50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Oh, man. Oh, that's probably our best intro. Maybe I've been overthinking it.
Came in hot. Yeah, I really liked it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Oh, man. It's good to see both of you. Kyle.
Yes.
Any prepper experience? I mean, I guess the whole world had it for a little bit.
I honestly, I was excited. First, I want to say I only know him as Adam Beast Media on Instagram, but I met him in where was I? I don't know. I'm on the road every weekend at the show that I met him at, but he suggested doing prepping. Yes, I was in Raleigh. That's where it was. Adam Beast Media on Instagram.
You met him.
Yeah, but thank you for suggesting this.
Check him out.
This was a good suggestion. Thank you for the suggestion. I have been low key. If you get into like camping enough and like backpacking, which I didn't do a lot, but I really liked all the gear. There's a lot of overlap of like, oh, I need this straw so I can drink out of a river,
a clean canteen or whatever,
or a tainted puddle in front of your house because the whole city's on a boil notice. You know,
what is camping but war without guns? So
wow.
Oh my gosh.
That is the excuse I've heard from so many kids' dads of like, let's go camping. Like, I did enough camping in the Army. I'm not camping ever again. That was every
That's such an old man, like
it was every deadbeat dad's excuse for not wanting to camp with their kids. Like, I was in the military. I'm not doing that shit for fun. Like, all
I'll
right.
camp my ass into my lazy boy and watch the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I will say, I think there's some crossover there. I don't think it's a fine line, but
yeah,
there's a difference between a guy having a tent and a guy wanting to overthrow the government.
It was easy to mock these people, and then there were shows again before the pandemic. There were shows like these are preppers, and like the first episode, when people were really paying attention, the first episode had some guy who shot his thumb off trying to teach his kids about firearm safety. And it's like, well, if that's your introduction to this community, yeah, it's a pretty easily mocked group of people. But I think the ones that are truly ready and have a spot hidden to go to aren't going to sign up for a reality show about it.
No, they're probably off the gritty already.
Yeah, I love this shit. I'm about it.
I don't hate it. Few quick experience with preppers.
Mm-hmm.
One, this isn't really prepping, but I feel like it's kind of close. We were really broke when I was younger, and my mom couldn't afford groceries. And then somehow one of my brothers came home with like at least 20 boxes of MREs. And they said U.S. Army on them. So I don't know what happened, but there was mention in the whispers of it, if you will, was there was a train and it had stopped. And
well, if trains are stopped, you can just take whatever you want off of them.
yeah, and I'll tell you this: I liked the spaghetti. Not bad. The spaghetti was pretty good.
I had enough camp meals.
Was
but it's the same thing.
Very proud of my brothers for when we couldn't have groceries that they went out to find food.
They provided, and by rights, your tax dollars paid for those.
Yeah.
So they're yours.
My tax dollars, my 13-year-old tax dollars. Paid
Hey, your mom's tax dollars. Your mom sounded like she was above board on everything.
She was. Yeah, she was a G.
Yeah. So that was yours.
They definitely told her a different story, and they told me a different story too. So,
well, I'm sure
it's like it's like the whispers of a wrestler being involved in a murder when it comes. Like, we don't really know what happened.
Did you have to like prepare? Like, was it?
Oh yeah, no, we like pulled them out. Like,
yeah.
when we're boiling, some were like easy to just eat.
Yeah.
Like some, yeah. And I think we went through those pretty quick. And then there was some I just remember. I also remember this was like, this is how fat we didn't have enough food.
Mm-hmm.
And these MREs would come with little fun size packages of M&Ms, and I would just open up like 40 MREs and just take the M&Ms out of them and leave.
That's like when my sister ate all my what's the calendar called at Christmas time with the chocolates?
It's a Cove Advent calendar. Remember Charlene and I had a Cove Advent calendar? We thought it was like, we'll do this for a month. It'll pass the time.
Yeah.
And then we ran out of space in the apartment.
Well, I buy all those like the freeze-dried camp food because that's just, you just add water to the bag and eat it. And the reason some of that stuff is so good is because it's so hot. It's like calorically high because you're expected to also then traverse 20 miles after eating it, not just pour hot water in it and then eat it and then sit on a camp chair around a fire the rest of the day. Like that stuff will kill you.
It's engineered for.
Yeah, it's so you
gotta put on a shitload of weight.
Yeah, it's so you could survive. But that stuff is tasty.
Yeah. There's an extra high. There's a 900% content fat in it for a computer programmer doesn't need it. You need a super marathoner.
Yeah, it's
for it to be.
You're supposed to use the energy you get from it. But I have all that stuff. I bought all the backpacking stuff because I thought I was going to get into backpacking. I have so much stuff that I like the idea of it. And I'm not the guy to go through with it. But as far as the gear, like I love going to REI because you could always double up anything you want to buy at REI. Is like, I might not camp, but if the shit goes down, I probably need this $300 multi-tool. Because it's got everything you need, but it'll do a crappy job of all of it. Screwdriver, kind of decent. Knife, it's okay. The saw, it's only 2 inches long. You're not getting through a tree trunk with it. Tiny scissors, these threads hanging off my shirt. That's what I need to address in the apocalypse.
I have to go to REI. My sweater is undone, and I can't Weezer.
Yeah.
Oh man, I get it. Like I will say, I don't know if Charlene, if you feel maybe this is a gendered thing, but like I like dual functionality of a tool. Like, and REI is great for that.
Yeah.
So if there's a boot that also turns into a running sneaker, I'm fine with it. If the pants have like extra zippers on the inside of the legs for me to keep my wallet in a hidden place, I love it. I don't want to ever dress like that on the regular because I think that turns you into you really start wearing the uniform of a man who used to be a man.
Yeah, when you're just at when you're at the grocery store, but you look like you've been dispatched from the village to go find resources. It's like, all right, let's calm down. But
God,
that's the whole thing. Like I was getting into this shit. There's a book by Neil Strauss called Emergency. And Neil Strauss, he like co-wrote The Dirt by Motley Crue. He did a lot of bonkers shit, and I think he might not be a good dude. I think some things came out about him. I don't know.
Hey,
but
OJ wasn't a great guy, but he was a hell of a running back. But we don't have to qualify all.
Yeah, okay. So, but he wrote this book where he kind of was the same thing, approaching these doomsday preppers as like, all right, this is pre-COVID everything, but started to like hung out with all these guys, and a lot of it was, here's just basic preparedness you should have for life. Anything you can go overboard with anything. But a lot of this stuff is just useful information to have as far as when it comes down to basic stuff. Like, do you know how to get out of your apartment if your main door is closed? Like, if you don't have an escape route, if you ever even thought about that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Or, oh, I leave my neighborhood by this road. Well, what if that road, LA, my thing was like an earthquake, not even a catastrophic earthquake, but one that just breaks the street to where it's only like a foot and a half out of whack. If you were planning on driving somewhere, you're done. So do you either know how to like put rocks and build a level surface to make a ramp to get over that bump, or do you have a vehicle that's going to get you around that kind of stuff? I had a Jeep for a while, and I wanted a Jeep anyway, but it was like, oh, I'm going to have to drive over some bullshit to get out of LA.
Yeah, I think this community definitely gets a bad rap. I mean, I think we'll get into this in a bit, but it's the mouthpieces for it that really kind of oftentimes the delivery system is what ruins so many of these things.
Yeah,
you know, like that we talk about on this show. But yeah, man, I was listening to you introduced me to it, that It Could Happen Here podcast.
Ooh, that's it was
great.
Yeah,
it was,
but it's
really,
a scary
really
one.
good, powerful piece. Yeah,
yeah, Robert Evans.
Robert Evans, not the famed movie producer who probably just turned people into food in his word sex apartments.
Yeah,
but he had this really great thing.
You guys ever like to drink out of the hot tub after an orgy? All right.
But he had this great moment where it's like a lot of people were writing in and asking me about this because it became such a hit, the podcast. And one of the things he said, he goes, I don't think it's insane to have a month's worth of food ready to go for you and your family.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. And he goes, as far as guns go, they're tools. You should know how to use a tool. I'm not advocating, he goes, I got more than anyone should have, probably. But,
yeah.
And he was really candid. Like his tone was like, so my point being, like, my introduction to prepping to some degree, or some of my experience with it, was listening to him talk about this stuff. And it was pretty reasonable to just have, having food, not so bad. Having an escape route, not so bad.
Yeah.
I saw Civil War last night in the theater.
Ooh, how was it?
But pretty sexy.
What are you purchasing after watching that movie?
Oh, well, I purchased a box of fun-sized Butterfingers for the movie.
Okay. Do you have any left? Did you prepare? Did you eat enough calorically just to get through the film and then more to survive the following days?
I thought I was bountiful in resources, and turns out I was not.
You're a liability. You're a liability to the to the survivors, to the surviving community. You're a liability now.
I sold my date to a sex tribe so I could get away from it.
No.
So I just think I think there's like the reasonable. That being said, when I went home for a funeral like a month and a half ago, I went home for my friend's mom's funeral, and I know all of them. I know her sister, and her stepfather. And I was talking to her stepfather. I've known him for years, and he goes, "Yeah, we're doing okay. I'm hanging in there." And then he goes, "I guess I'm gonna go out to Utah and live with her little sister for a little bit, and her goddamn doomsday prepper husband." so he was like,
yeah,
it's pretty funny to me because he was like, they don't think they're preppers. He goes, look, I was in the Navy. They're preppers.
Yeah.
Like, they are. Yeah.
Well, it's what I mean. I was talking to Rachel, and she was like, "Oh, you mean like we're doing preppers?" She's like, "You mean Mormons?" I'm like, what do you mean? Mormons are big on food storage for the second coming. You're going to need a lot of food. I didn't know that the Mormon community has
a lot of food in heaven.
Apparently, I don't know what it is, but apparently with the Mormon community, it's just having an abundance of food. First off, they have huge families, but also having an abundance of food in the house, like preserves too, like non-perishables. And it's easy to mock.
That's a skill set you should just learn how to do.
Yeah, it's easy to mock, but you put the word doomsday in front of prepping, and it obviously you come up with full fucking nutters who are just like, this is how you in case you need to drink your urine, and everybody's like, I'm not going full Bear Grylls. But how about if there's an earthquake, natural disaster, something, and your power's out, all your food's going to spoil in your fridge. Water mains break. What are you doing for water? You're just going to wait for trucks to come through with fresh water in a first world country? You would imagine that to happen. But wouldn't it be nice to know, like, oh, they say fill up, if you have a bathtub or sinks, fill them up. If there's ever like power outage, water goes out, fill those up first so you have a surplus. Even if you have to boil it because it's been sitting there, you have water stored, or have bottled water stashed in your garage or something. So you don't have to rely on government services. Well, you see everybody, whatever. We saw it in the pandemic. People, I'm doing a joke about it now, but people fighting over toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
People do not act rationally when it's time to survive. Or the idea of even a threat. I might be out of toilet paper. That's the whole crux of the joke, is like, all you have to do is stay home and the water's on. Wash your ass. All you have to do. But you want to fight people over toilet paper. Like, look at how people acted during that. Now, do you want to have to participate in that? Because those people have guns. They have guns. They just don't have toilet paper. Because that's the crazy people that prepare, like, I got guns in case they're trying to take mine. But what about when they're out of theirs and now they want to take yours? So that leads you to wanting to have the gun part of it. You want to have toilet paper and guns.
That really is what it was like. It was like the whole world had to take an emergency shit, and there was only one bathroom.
Yeah.
Was the energy, like, everybody.
It was pathetic. It was pathetic for the human race.
It really was. Now,
it's NAFT 50 for 50% off.
Yeah. There you go, baby. Booyah, booyah, booyah. We still got it. These Factor meals,
we don't
as
have
long
to
as you keep them stored.
You can't
keep them stored properly.
Yeah.
You're going to be eating fine. Every day is going to be Thanksgiving, even if the world's crumbling around you with Factor 75. We'll be right back. My favorite meal from Factor is the Rio Grande chicken. It's got this kind of buttery broccoli that comes on the side and a little bit of cheese. It's creamy. It's so damn good. One of the reasons I love Factor is I am on the road all the time, more than anyone, more than pilgrims. And when I come home to my freezer, there they are, just waiting for me. Like, it's not quite love, but it's what I got. It's the closest thing I have to a home cooked meal from someone who can't wait to see me, which is me. And as the great Dave Attell said, true loneliness is your own reflection in a microwave window, but not with Factor.
Okay. If you want a great discount on that kind of sadness, head to factormeals.com/NAFT50 and use code NAFT50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month, you pilgrims. Unbuckle your hats. That's code NAFT50 at factormeals.com/NAFT50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
So yeah, I'd eat a person. We're back.
Would you, I mean, if that was I don't understand why that's a big deal. Like,
all right.
Things got so bad they had to eat a person. I'm like, whatever.
I mean, are you killing the person also?
No, I'm like, if you're all collectively going like, well, somebody's going to die. And if you're like, well, if I die, you should eat me. I'd be like, no problem.
Yeah.
I don't understand the big deal over that. I'm not looking for it now when there's options.
I know you're not hunting. You're not trying to take human life to eat dinner. You're like,
yeah.
Is that like we have venison or people?
Yeah. Did we eat all the squirrels? We ate the last squirrel. All right.
A Shane burger sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
I could go for some real Janine knuckle.
Oh.
You pickle them. We're talking about preserves.
Old Vicky Pickles.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't. They always make that as like the ultimate test to survive. Psychologically, would be the. I don't. Yeah, I don't understand the big deal. Yeah, it's not great, but I think if you're already at that point of surviving, it's not like in 30 minutes all of a sudden we got to eat a person. You've already psychologically survived to the point where now you have to eat the person. You've already seen enough horrible shit. That's why if it's an apocalypse and it's truly the end of the world, what am I hanging around to suffer until I die for?
That's what I don't understand.
Like, let's go.
Really? Because I gotta like,
Let's do all the drugs and blow our brains out. Let's get out of here.
I know.
I'm kind of going the other way with it.
Really?
I want to run this new dark world.
Oh no.
We only farm at night in Shaneland.
You want to be Uriah Heep or whatever the bad guy was in Mad Max? Imogen
yeah.
Poots? I don't know. Who's the bad guy's name?
Imogen Poots. Immortal Joe.
Oh, whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
His
man.
name wasn't Uriah Heep.
Uriah Heep.
Immortan Joe.
Immortan Joe.
Is it? Oh, I thought it was Immortal Joe.
Wikipedia.
The new one comes out next. The new one comes out this week. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Really?
Those Mad Max movies kick fucking ass.
They do. But really, you'd want to like just be around trying to survive. Like if you had kids, I can understand the purpose of wanting to see your kids survive. But I don't know. So if I was you.
I mean, I certainly would have to have some kind of reason.
I'd stick. I'd live long enough to eat a guy, and then I'd be like, "All right, we did it. I'll go. Now I'm done."
You're just gonna check a list of the finally.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets? Do you have any regrets? I shouldn't have had that Steve.
Yeah, that's a true bucket list. When your bucket list is, we need to find more buckets. when you're really down that far, and that's it. We're running out of buckets, and we got to eat the corpses. All right, well, give me a nibble, and I'll see you later.
All right, Kyle.
Yeah.
If shit hits the fan, right?
Yeah.
And you got to go. Like, what's in your go bag?
Life straws. I got a few of those. Something to be able to consume clean water.
Okay.
You mean as far as things I own now or things I wish to own?
Things you own now.
Maybe a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely a firearm. Even more so, like if we're not talking like defend myself from people, but like I got to eat some squirrels. I got a pretty decent BB gun that's you're not too worried about finding actual bullets for because you're just putting little pellets or rocks in it.
Oh, well, that's kind of a cool.
A way to drink clean water, a way to start fire. I have all the things they tell you to have. I have a crank radio. That's the thing. We can make fun of doomsday preppers. How many people's life would go to shit just because their phone died?
Oh,
how many people don't know how to get home?
Out. Yeah, I saw a woman freaking the fuck out at the top of the subway steps because she was trying to get a signal for her phone and she was coming out from underground.
Yeah,
freaking out, just like and holding up 1,000 people literally behind her. Like, so like. Yeah, there's a value in being self-sufficient and having a few backup plans.
Yeah. Dave Stone was real good for not wanting to use Google Maps, like for a new spot, but then like trying to get home. Like, I know where my house is. Let me get there from here. Because if you have time to kill, like learn the directions and learn the way around the city you live in.
For sure. Oh, how about a compass?
Yeah.
Just a compass would probably.
But a compass, like you can, if the sun's up, you could figure out directions.
No, they can't.
Some people can't. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, like no.
But again, it doesn't matter. If you don't know where your house is, it doesn't matter if you know that that's north. Where's your house from here? Landmarks. Like that was a scary thing when I went. I'm a very limited experience backpacking, but realizing that if you're doing an out and back, that you hike to something you want to see, but then you're hiking back at a different time of day. So you're seeing it from a different perspective. The sun's in a different place. So that creates shadows and changes the way the terrain looks. And all of a sudden we were walking back and the sun was setting and we knew we still had like an hour or so to go to the campsite and we had no idea where it was. And the trail doesn't look like the trail going the other way in different light. So being aware of your surroundings that way.
Did you mark? Is that what you're supposed to do?
That's what you see their cairns. You see the rocks stacked up. So that's why people get mad when you're hiking and people just do it for fun. It's like, no, those actually serve a purpose when you're hiking. It's like, hey, the trail is this way. Even though you can't tell because the leaves fell on it, you see the rocks stacked up. Like, oh, that means the trail goes that way. But I think water, a way to start fire, a way to stay, depending on where you are, a way to stay dry, raincoat, stuff like that, because that goes into staying warm and sort of like falls under shelter. I've thought about this. Yeah.
I would say hard road maps.
Yeah.
Like actual, like tangible road maps too. Yeah. Charlene.
Yeah.
What would be in your prepper
Of
kit?
things that I already own, I'm probably have some batteries.
Battery's a good one. Batteries is a good one, though.
What are you gonna pelt him at a guy who tries to take your wallet?
Well, I have a bunch of flashlights because for lighting comics is why I have them. But I have a ton of them, so I will have a source of light.
Hey, you guys know these light up other stuff besides moon-faced idiots?
Yeah. Hey, will any one of these work on a self-obsessed asshole? Because the last one didn't work. It must be the light, because I know they see it. It must be the type of light.
Should have shined this thing in that Trump's face.
You know what? Fuck the light. I'm getting a laser. It's going right into your pupil if you go a minute over. I will cause permanent damage to your vision.
Charlene did find
the list.
That's pretty good.
Where's your electricity coming from? That's the thing. Imagine, truly imagine, without electricity, what do? You don't have a phone unless you got one of them shitty solar chargers.
Yeah,
but even if you do,
kind of
does a cell network work? Is that functional?
Right. Yeah.
You need like a reusable mobile battery, like a restore.
Well, you could do power banks and a solar charger, but again, the crank radios that you just charge up by cranking them, and then that's the easiest way to broadcast when all the shit goes down. Is anybody with a radio frequency, can send out. That's how you get that. That's how you can get information. Knowing how to read maps, which I do not know how to do, truly know coordinates and stuff.
I do know that stuff, not like in a military sense, but I can read them a little bit just because when I would go hiking and when I lived in Oregon, like my buddy Aaron was really into it, so I had some sense of it, but I don't know if I'd be any good at it. I do want to go to some of the actual research instead of people. I don't want anybody stealing all our good ideas for when the world ends.
But I'm just going to head to Costco and I'll be set.
That was because that was the calmest place during the pandemic. That's already it's like a war zone in there.
Oh, I hate that place.
You know what's going to be nice about the pandemic? As long as we have 2-3 crank radios, we can still do our podcast.
That is the best thing about
somebody's starving. No, I will not eat you. We will die together, but I will not eat you. Let's see if there's any news being broadcast from the demilitarized zone. Hey, anyway, Factor Meals, 50% off. These are delicious and they're ready made.
I'm sleepy and upset. Best doomsday vehicles, top 5 rides for escaping the apocalypse. Recommended by most experts. Ooh, Charlene, you found a jewel.
I don't think Study Finds is from experts.
It says
there's so much
clickbait.
There's so much clickbait in this.
Yeah, this thing is. As long as you get through all the pop-ups, you can finally see what car you're supposed to have when there's no gas.
I've had and that's the thing. Okay, great, you have a gas guzzling vehicle to get over the stuff. Did you store gasoline? Do you have gas stored?
There is of these vehicles. Number 1 is the Jeep Wrangler Hummer. I'm sorry, the Jeep Wrangler, and then number 2 is the Hummer.
The Jeep Wrangler. So many divorced moms will be ready for the apocalypse.
Yeah. I
had that exact car, so I know who drove them.
Did you love it?
I enjoyed it while I had it. I'm glad I don't have it now. But I did the fun stuff with it. I got out in the woods and traipsed around in it. So I did the stuff you were supposed to do with the Jeep, and I enjoyed it for when I had it. I'm glad I don't have it now.
All right, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Hummer. Well, everybody in Phoenix will be just fine.
Yeah,
if that's exactly. What you fucking hate those cars. I will say the Subaru Outback coming in at number 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Portland's official vehicle.
Yeah, everybody here is gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those cars, but they seem like a pretty reasonable. Or the Mercedes Benz Unimog, which is basically just
it's a military
German
vehicle.
shipping. It's
a military pickup truck.
$250,000 to drive the last thing villagers ever see now.
Yeah, it was three things you can get off Brand Boulevard in Glendale today used if you have $28,000, or this Euro exclusive reserved only for the Finnish military.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, good work, Charlie. This is good article.
I like the psychology of it. Like looking at again, it's easy to make fun of, but it's also if you have anxiety, this could be one of the things that, even though somebody might look at your garage full of rice and canned goods, if that's what quells your anxiety about the world, and it's also still a useful thing, you could still eat that stuff and replenish it if shit's not going on. I don't really eat meat anymore. I got all this beef jerky, which apparently does go bad.
It does.
I've had it for so long that I'm like, I'm gonna eat this beef jerky.
It's
just because I got to replenish it. Is it 2 years?
If it's unopened, it's 2 years. If it is
we're gonna test
vacuum
that.
sealed, it is 3 months. And if it has been opened and it is stored in your refrigerator, it's 2 weeks. And I don't know what it is.
Vacuum sealed's shorter?
Yeah, I don't know why. This just came up today. I just looked it up today.
I'll go open some 6-year-old beef jerky right now. We can see what's up.
I'm sure it's fine.
Just a bunch of moths fly out of it.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to eat it. I'll eat it today. Fuck it.
Okay. Well, if there's no episode next week, we know what happened.
What happened to Kyle? He died because he ate all the stuff in his survival pack. Yeah, your survival gear is also not relevant if it's all expired from 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of rotate the stock.
This is from the New York Post. Sam Altman, who warned AI poses a risk of extinction to humanity, is also a doomsday prepper. Yikes. Scariest thing I have read in a while. All right, everyone. Now when you're done Googling in your AI art bot, what's a monkey on a surfboard look like eating, 2 grapes? Listen.
Available as an NFT.
It was like a fun hobby, but there's nothing else to do. None of this is going to help if artificial intelligence goes wrong, but it's like a fun hobby. Even the guy who's prepping for it is like, none of this is going to matter if it happens.
But that's how you have to look at it. Like, are you doing it because you're terrified of the world already? Like, maybe you have psychological issues that you need to address now. Or are you just like, good for you for having a surplus of income that you can prepare for the worst, that you can afford to prepare. A lot of people can't prepare for next week. So, and again, think about it. If shit goes down and your neighbor knows you prepared and they've been paycheck to paycheck, what do they give a shit about raiding your house for all your stuff? Or you could be a good neighbor, or you could be a good neighbor and talk about community and be like, hey, is everybody prepared for something like this? Let me share my knowledge and be of assistance.
Yeah, the guy who told you your lawn gnome is tacky is going to be real into what you own after it all comes crashing down.
I'm a strong believer in community and being neighborly. I don't know. I think I've irritated my neighbors here. So tough shit, yuppies. Your boy gonna live, and he gonna play guitar through the whole thing. Come near me, I'll pop you.
But that's good for you. In the next Mad Max movie, the guy who plays the guitar, so just you could be that guy with this new hair you're doing.
I would love to be that guy. I kind of am that guy. His neighbor. I just got whiskey and beef jerky. I'm just playing Motley Crue tunes.
Speaking of people who can't plan for next week, Kyle, what time is your flight out on Thursday of this week? Exactly. Everybody, get yourself a bag of rice.
If the world's ending, I'm not too worried about getting to the gig.
If the world ended, Would there be any part of you that was sad you wouldn't do stand-up again?
Well, that goes back to like if I don't know at what grade of apocalypse I'd do self-checkout, but I feel like pretty early on. Well, okay, but realistic. I'm 47. I'm not like I'm 20 and I'm gonna live long enough to see society flourish. I'll probably just live long enough to figure out how to make corn taste different 25 times a week. And then, oh, great. And then you die anyway.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's the thing. I agree with you to some extent.
Just a bunch of dirty, dead-eyed sex happening under tarps.
Ugh.
So it's what half the city's like already anyway.
Shit. Talk to me like I'm an asshole. But you think about this in a solely individual perspective. But you were also talking about community and being neighbors before. Just because it sucks doesn't mean that you're whatever. You can still add things to the equation for the future.
Yeah.
Even if it all crumbles down. I don't know what they would be, or I don't know what I would add either.
I did.
But like you don't have to just be a survivalist cog. You can be a cog in a wheel.
When I did Neil Brennan's podcast and I was talking about like, how do you like validate being important while doing stand up? Like what's your true value? And I'm like, we're just clowns. It's not that necessary. But he's like, well, the people that can tell stories in the most entertaining way become the documentarians for that society, which is, it's a little bit up its own ass in its way of thinking, but it's also true is that why do you know anything about history? Because somebody documented it. And I'm sure a lot of people wrote books trying to get into the Bible, but it's only the most interesting ones that made it, which is probably why it's all fucking bullshit, is because somebody had to dial it up enough. Somebody had to like rewrite the script to make it entertaining for the audience.
For sure, yeah.
It's like an old. That's like an old.
The Book of Randall didn't make it into the Old Testament because the most interesting that was happened is that he wandered upon a farm.
Well, it was like Dwayne Kennedy's bit about like everything happened after some wine. It was always like, yeah, man, I think like I saw a dog and then I was a beast, man. I saw a beast with 4 heads. So I was like, I think
Dwayne Kennedy kicks ass.
Dwayne Kennedy's the best comedian that nobody knows about right now.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking gay.
Dwayne Kennedy.
Dwayne Kennedy, man, he really is amazing.
Yeah,
like, very underheralded.
But he's like that whole book was written with wine, and that's why it got more ridiculous. But
you remember his bit about football?
Wait,
sure is a beautiful day for football. And he's like, 2 commentators go, yeah, if you mean it's for the black man to be like be exploited. He goes through this like long diatribe, and then he goes, then it is a beautiful day for football, Bill.
Who wrote
awesome.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's saying that like, okay, that is kind of, if you're trying to find a role for yourself, if you're trying to write your own job into the company, be like, oh yeah, well, I'm documenting this for the reason we know about what to do for prepping is because somebody probably had to go through some shit and was like, yeah, when my country was war-torn and there wasn't water anywhere, these are plants we learned to extract water from, or this is how we learned how to clean water, how to get rainwater in a desert by setting up tarps overnight to collect moisture and then pouring that into a trap so you have at least a cup of water in the morning to drink.
There was flooding, and this is how we learned how to divert it using old rubble or whatever.
And eventually that will, if you're doing well enough, it turns into like the Epicurious recipe entries where the recipe is 9 pages later after 8 pages of like, well, when I was a child, my grandmother lived on an orchard, and every spring I'd go there as a little girl. You're like, fuck you. How many berries do I need for this? And then
Yeah.
that's why you'll just be at the first stage. You need this many berries. And then if people live long enough, like, I like to add a little brown sugar. You found brown sugar? Holy shit. And then it will
The
get,
world is going in the right direction.
we'll rebuild back up to the point where there's a 9-page diatribe before you get how to make some sort of pie.
so,
I've said my piece.
all right. So we got a few minutes. I'm going to pose questions.
Okay.
I think we're all on the same page. There's a reasonable way to be a prepper. Having some tools is not crazy. That's kind of where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It all goes down tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Charlene, what is what are you going to miss the most that is trivial?
Pie.
And I'm not talking about like your brother or your mom. I mean like something that's shitty, like diner pie.
Did you see me starting to say pie?
I did. Yeah.
I don't know why
Pie.
diner pie sounds like the filthiest.
That's a chocolate
love-
cream or a coconut cream.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
a blueberry where you're like, this is just jam with some marbles in it,
Right.
basically.
Right.
Pie.
I'll go pie or chili cheese dog.
Food wise, yeah.
Ooh.
Kyle.
Trivia. I mean, everything's trivial. Everything I do is
All
trivial.
right, Christ, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna be like, oh, the barista who flirts with me, you know, like
Aw,
I think
that's sweet.
yeah.
This is where it happens.
I'll eat her first.
Okay. All right.
You gotta go. This is why you need these skills. These skills, everyone mocks these skills. They'll be the most desirable traits in a
Mhm.
partner when shit goes down. Is the ability to provide and help someone survive.
This kind of goes back to that discussion we had about people having trades.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we were talking about how they're shit on for a living,
Right.
and now it's just like, what is like a skill set? But you're not that far off from being a tradesman. Like, if I have a book that shows me how to tie 40 different knots, it might be the most useful thing I could bring with me.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
I had to stop following those accounts on social media because then they were starting to lead into like it would either be like right wing adjacent and then be too much right wing shit where I'm like, I just wanted to learn the knot. I just wanted to learn how to start a fire. By the way,
Yeah.
save your dryer lint.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent fire tinder is dryer lint. I keep a Ziploc bag next to the thing. So if you even just for the fireplace, you could just light a little bundle of dryer lint. It goes up immediately, and it's excellent tinder.
Really?
I learned that from a little survival guide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, as long as your house doesn't light on fire, like, we'll be fine as long as it doesn't reach my dryer lint closet.
That's a lot of house fires start
That is
because
how they
people
start, yeah.
don't clean out
Then-
the vents to their dryer,
Yep.
or it gets stuck in the
The
tube
hose
going
that goes
outside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's actually why. So you could reverse engineer why this fire start. Oh, the dryer lint. Oh, so that stuff burns. Maybe we could save it because we like to camp every weekend, and starting a campfire is a huge pain in the ass. No, basic shit. Knowing which wood can burn better, like how to dry out wood or what wood
Yeah.
doesn't retain as much water. Shit that's like nerdy stuff. Every Eagle Scout, I'm so jealous I did not stick with.
A
Cub
little
Scouts.
bit, like every farm kid knows this stuff.
Farm kids and,
You know,
and Eagle Scouts are unlike Eagle Scout. I think I grew up around so many slackers that if I met an Eagle Scout, it was like, oh my God, you got your master's degree. You got your PhD from Yale. Holy shit. That's how I look at Eagle Scouts.
Mm.
Yeah. That's like, my mom,
But more
since
useful.
She grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
My mom grew up on a farm, and she'd just say these things to us. Like every once in a while, like I'd glean some knowledge from her. Like we have, like she loved fire, so we would always have firewood. We'd always like get a couple quarts of it, you know, for
Yeah.
the winter. And she'd just be like, "You got to tarp. You got to do all this stuff. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to have a fire." You know, like most people will just put it outside
Yeah.
and not, you know, like. And then she would just be like, "What are you, an idiot? Why don't you know this?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"I didn't grow up in a farm in Ireland where they got running water just after you were born."
Yeah. Well,
Like,
this is a great article from SeattleAnxiety.com, which is a hell of a website. name.
very reputable site. It's just a bunch of callers from the sitcom Frasier.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
their message. For
I don't know. Maybe don't have a gallon of coffee every day and you might be a little less stressed out. You might get some sleep.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing the same thing. But
I'm buxing.
That's
what I call it right now when I drink coffee. I'm buxing.
I get it. I like it.
No.
But it says
Thanks,
it was interesting. Like life history theory. I'll read this. Life history theory is an explanatory framework for behavior that integrates the perspectives of evolutionary, social, developmental, and ecological theories while considering the amount of effort needed to invest in achieving a goal and the trade-offs that are required. What that means, it's like if you don't have anything to worry about, you have more time to come up with long-term plans. So you can plan for if shit goes down. Whereas if you're just day to day, like I was saying before, if you're paycheck to paycheck and you have some sort of emergency or crisis every day, you're probably not making sure you have water storage for clean water 1 month for every family member.
Yeah.
It's why
Zuckerberg
has a bunker and we don't.
Yeah. Yeah. These well-off people have the time to fantasize about situations and prepare for, like, come up with fictional scenarios to get ready for, where everybody else's survival is day to day. So they have that they don't know how to make a fire.
Instead of just solving hunger in the United States, which they have enough money to do.
Very much so. Yeah. Teach you, man.
That might be helpful for when the grid goes down.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, Charlene's gonna miss pie. Kyle didn't think of anything.
Yeah.
And I'll never ask that barista out.
Okay. Why not?
We'll be right back. Okay. Or will we? And we're back.
Mm-hmm.
This is No Accounting for Taste. Give us a ring at 971-259-8302 if you got a topic you would like us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, we're talking about prepping. Doomsday people. We've all erred on the side of it's a reasonable thing to do within a reasonable expectation and amount.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm sure some of you fucking nutter butters who listen to this show every Monday are gonna have some wild shit to say. I hope we get a really good canned soup review today. That's what I'm crossing my fingers for.
Oh, a lot of soup. I mean, Cody's ready for it. I do want to add though to the whole.
Cody's mostly diarrhea at this point.
Yeah, he's a liquid man. I want to add though, there is, for all the preparedness, I have to be honest with myself. It's like part of the plan. Like I have everything on these like preparedness lists. I have it, but if something went on, I would just be outside in my underpants screaming for help. Like I never worked on the mental part of being calm in a disaster and managing nerves and fear in order to get so you can buy all the stuff and quell that anxiety, but also if you just don't know how, like we were talking about before, like Charlene, like your mom just let you like fuck things up to figure it out on your own so you're not stressed when something might be going wrong. Whereas if the audio doesn't work in the first 30 seconds of a podcast, Shane and I are just crying into our laps and throwing things like children.
I am a baby smearing shit on the wall.
Yes, we lose our minds. But as dudes, we're going to be like, don't worry, I got a Leatherman. It functions in 35 different ways. I'll drop it immediately.
Strong, look at me.
Yeah,
I'm strong, look at me.
I got in a fight with Rachel because we were camping and I was trying to light a fire and I couldn't. And she just more or less stole my car to go into town and get Carl's Jr. And she came back and I still couldn't get the fire lit. But I was my ego was so much like, we're doing this right. We're camping and we're going to camp the right way. And she's like, well, I'm hungry now and we're near a town. So good luck. And she just left.
She'll be sorry that she went for hamburgers when it all comes down.
Yeah. So
that's right. She's part of the war machine.
It's like, yeah. Oh, I still have to think, am I going to be calm in the face of something happening and be like, oh, that's scary. My house slid off the foundation and there's fires everywhere in the distance. Let's walk through the rubble because we know where we left everything. Let's get it in the backpack and then let's address it from there. So if the operator's shit, it doesn't matter if the vehicle's dialed in. Go to the calls. I just want to add that part of it.
It does make me worry about being on an island.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, just kill me. I'm not going to be of any use.
Yeah.
I'll just be a panicky mess that uses resources until I do something stupid to harm myself irreparably, where I'm like, oh, now I'm even more of a liability because I was obnoxious and a baby before. Now I've also injured myself, and I'm using all the gauze and clean water to stay alive.
You're just ready to be grist for the mill.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I am thriving now with running water and electricity. I can just jokes. That
You're thriving?
Yeah,
You're thriving?
absolutely.
We had to tell you to turn a light on behind you in this podcast.
Yeah. Because I'm not vain, dude. I'm not like worried about how I look.
Thriving!
Think about being a comedian is making the best scenario in a civilized society. You win. You won. We Why do you not think I'm thriving? It was just dark. I'm in the one creepy room.
Look at your fucking hair. It's everywhere. I love you so much. Oh, God damn it.
I'm not basing it on how I'm perceived. I'm basing it on how I
I'm
feel.
thriving. I didn't put on pants today.
No, I did. I resisted just wearing pajamas around. I did put some jeans on. That is thriving, though. It's a Monday afternoon. It's a Monday afternoon. Some people are in slacks in an office, being at your own home and whatever, looking however you want, and not worrying about anything. That is absolutely thriving. Only because we're in a first world country that for some reason still values clowns enough to allow us this. So yeah, I would consider this thriving. Every sad comedian, boo-hoo, then go get a real job. Shit stick, and tell me how you like that. Wake up at 6 a.m. and go to an office, fuckface, and then tell me how you like that. Oh, do you get to be on stage for a living? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Shane. You're a fuck stick in this scenario.
He called me shit stick, I think,
Oh,
actually.
God, every comedian in a green room bummed out. Oh, get bent.
No, I had a good day about that yesterday. I had a really good morning. I went to breakfast and had like a nice time.
Yeah.
Then walked around the park and then came back and watched a movie. And then I did 2 spots. And I sat down with some other comics at the cellar, and we were just like, we pay our rent doing this. Talked to Judd Apatow for an hour.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then I went on stage and I did 2 shows, and then Dave Attell brought me on stage and ripped with me. And was
See?
the funniest person alive. Yeah.
See,
That'll probably be what I miss most. Not that barista.
I'll miss knowing that I'm in the best zone of my life right now. That's why if anything changes, it'll be worse than this.
That's a good point. God, it could get better.
Yeah, no. If it gets better, it stays, or I adjust to like my expectations in the world. I was talking to a friend who's kind of like bummed out about ticket sales and everything, and it's like, well, you have to remind yourself that we all occupy every position in the race of stand-up. But if it just came down to just being filthy in the dirt, which I do by choice now, but if I had to do it, you can love camping, but then talk to somebody who like got stuck in an airport overnight and couldn't shower, and they're like,
That's why I would go to the Delta Lounge, where my Premier Access would make me the Zuckerberg of the airport, and I would scrub myself clean with a bamboo shampoo. Anybody, let's hear from these callers. Meow meow. Cats will be a food source in the future.
Oh, I couldn't do that. I need a person before a cat.
You're fucking full of shit.
There's a lot
no
of
way you
people
need
I
a
don't
person
like. I
before
love all the cats.
Here we go.
Hey guys, I was calling about doomsday prepping. I don't know. I mean, it's fun to listen to people go down a rabbit hole. I had a supervisor at an old job that was really into it, and one day I decided to just kind of go along with him to see what he thought and how long the rabbit hole would go, and man, it went really deep. It started off with, you keep extra grain in your garage or something, keep it stored where, if you need some food, you have that laying around, to, do you know why they put fences around airports? It's because immunizations are making us dumb, and the government is going to keep us all in places like this and, to control it. So it went really deep, really quickly. But as far as my own personal opinions on it, if there's anything good you can say about corporate greed and capitalism, is that, if something were to happen, like the grid went down, you could always count on these greedy guys to get it back up, pretty quickly. So I don't know. I don't worry too much about it. As maybe that's just the optimist in me. I think everything's going to be okay. Like, I don't want to live my life in some, fear that something catastrophic is going to happen. So, yeah, my take is I think we'd be all right. I don't see it being an issue. Thanks, guys. Love the show. Keep it up. And, that's it. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Meow, meow.
I was like with him on the grain thing, and then the fences around airports. It's like, okay, that's
what we're learning, though. Like every week when we get into this, is this a cool thing or is this a bad thing? It's always the loudest mouthpiece. Yeah, there's always just like somebody with a capitalist energy, no matter what the subject is or whatever the group is, that's kind of ruining it to be the number one person of it.
They're going to keep us in the airports. No, it's just so fucking idiots don't wander onto the runways.
Yeah, some things can be a animals, practical application. Yeah.
My buddy who is I wouldn't say he's a prepper, but he's definitely like more of a, little paranoid about society, but in the area of it being reasonable. And he just bought property and he planted, I don't know, he's got like walnuts and different things, but did research. And he's like, no, this is like, it's some sort of Asian nut that is more sustainable, and did the research on what can last through the climate. He's like, oh, you're doing it the right way. He's like, yeah, I will have a commodity. Worst case scenario, he will have a protein commodity that he grows himself on his property that he can then trade with people for other things, if you want to think of it that way. Otherwise, he's just like, yeah, when I retire, I do want to just farm and maybe sell this shit at a farmer's market that's not necessarily on the, not tax grid, but like, I don't need to be government regulated. I just want to go down to my community and sell this stuff that I grew to the other people in the community and buy the stuff that they grew and just live like that. I think
don't
that's
have to get your
cool.
fingers in every fucking.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty great. Yeah. You got that big backyard now, Kyle. Let's till it and get the rocks.
It's unusable. It's steep.
The earth here is no good. We must wander.
It's got blackberries. I just keep it. I got a lot of zombie boats out in the river there. I got a lot of potential marauders if they wanted to change their minds. So I like to keep it wild. Keeps them stuck down there.
Well, what we need to do is put a turret on the roof.
Yeah.
So, find 3 good men to work in shifts.
Yeah, shit, man. Go on vacation in Tulum and then, oh, that's a private residence. How can you tell? Oh, look at the guys with AR-15s perched on the walls around it. I'm like, I came here for vacation? Okay, then.
Fucking Christ. Yeah. Next caller.
Yeah, I was saying Kyle and Shardog. Shout out to Buster and the Stoop Man. This is Javier from Fort Worth. Man, I love the shit out of both y'all specials. I appreciate the laughs. Anyway, I ain't gonna lie. I used to poke fun at preppers being all on the edge and shit. But when the shit hit the fan a few years ago, I thought maybe I should keep a few things on hand in case shit goes bananas again. So I keep water, canned goods, and some medical supplies after ready. Anyway, yeah, this Javier out. Oh, love the sound effects, Shardog. All right, bye, you guys.
And if you guys were wondering what happened to Mitch Hedberg,
I wanted that guy's chuckle to be one of the sound effects.
Yeah, that guy
like this guy.
Awesome.
Medic, we didn't think about first aid. We didn't think about basic first aid knowledge. Not only having the stuff, but knowing what to do with it.
Yeah. And that's just CPR training, a couple other things. Probably just a practical skill that might save someone's life in a restaurant someday.
You could use super glue instead of stitches because it's what do they call it? Non-hazardous or whatever and you can
non-toxic.
Yeah, non-toxic. Yeah, and you can close up wounds with it.
Really? Depending on the severity of it. You mean.
Yeah, I mean, if the insides are all screwed up, but as far as like cutting yourself,
Yep.
I just keep that knowledge. Like, I'm not, especially with the way the healthcare system is. Like, if you're just gonna get 6 stitches and it's a place where you don't care, you're gonna get a scar. Just glue it. Just glue it together.
Wash it. Wash it. Clean it.
I didn't
Wash
say
it. Clean it. Glue it. Skin glue.
Yep, they used it in the army. I think that was where like they were using it in the field. Like, I don't have time to stitch somebody. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, basic first aid knowledge. If you don't have that, but I'm taking a first aid class, people might laugh at you. Like, that's a good thing to go take a class in.
Yeah, if you're laughing at first aid knowledge,
Yeah,
you kind of suck.
you should just have. I should read. Should read about that.
Let's take a first aid class together. No,
I do have a survival skills class that Rachel got me for Christmas before the pandemic, and we scheduled it, and it got canceled because of the pandemic, which I find very ironic. Well, we can't get together for this survival class because the world's crumbling. You shitting?
There's a guy in fatigues like, I'm a fraud.
Yeah.
I could have saved so many people. Next caller.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Richard G. from Greensboro, North Carolina here.
Hey,
I believe today's topic is preppers or doomsday preppers. Yeah, man, I've known a few living in the great state of North Carolina. You know, we got a lot of hicks and hillbillies here, so
State.
The preppers, man, they don't really tell you at first. They kind of like, hey, man, why don't you come over? Let me show you my cool collection of like guns or whatever it is, and then. Then they want to take you down to their basement, quote unquote, and where they've stockpiled nothing but a bunch of like chips and snacks and pickled beets or whatever the hell. Yeah, I don't want to call them insane, but they're just a different kind of kooky, man. And the weird thing about it is they keep a really tight knit group. So yeah, if you know too many preppers, they don't have a whole lot of like, you know, outside influence, a lot of outside friends. It's pretty much all just the prepping stuff. So yeah, it's a little weird, man. And like I said, if the shit ever does go down and it's a post-apocalyptic, you know, I don't want to be eating, you know, cans of pickled beets and, you know, 3-year-old potato chips. But anyway, man, do your thing if that's what you're into. Hey, you probably ain't hurting nobody anyway, man. But anyway, I love the show. Patron here. I think I was number 22 on the list. But, yeah, man, seen Kyle and Raleigh on 420, the late show. It's the guy with the bucket hat and the Kyle Kinane shirt. Shane, can't wait for you to come down this way. I'll do my best to get tickets to come see you, too. Love the Blue-Eyed Mexican. Great special. Shardog, keep it up. Keep these boys straight. Soup Cody, non-Stoop Cody, keep it up. Keep sending these messages in, man. Let's get this podcast on the way up.
Yeah.
Love you guys, man.
Thanks,
keep
man.
up the good work.
Yeah. Hey. We got a fucking community. There was great calls this week.
Oh, that guy was all right. And like they do, I feel like more people are preppers. The smart ones don't talk about it.
Yeah,
for fear of judgment, and why should you know? It's none of my business.
And the limit of the circle is probably a valuable thing when it all goes down.
Yeah,
not having too many people know exactly what you got going on,
and
it's probably a useful thing.
And probably more to that thing that I read about Shane in New York City, you probably don't have a lot of people like, oh yeah, here's my preparedness kit. I just need to get it 30 stories down to the ground level after everything's out. Or it's like, yeah, again, you have time, you got land, you got time to sit and chill out on that land. Then you could start thinking about those things. Like how many doomsday preppers are like 300 pounds? I'm like, bitch, you're not going to fit in the bunker. Like what about your health? What about being physically prepared? Like, I would watch those doomsday shows, and again, they're selecting people that are the most ridiculous. That's why they make it onto the shows. But it's always people like that are in the most out of shape. Like, do you not think that physical fitness is going to be part of surviving? Like, it's not just having all the stuff.
Work on your You're gonna have to work on your cardio if you want to survive the apocalypse for a while.
Yeah. Just seeing people that are like, oh, you're dead once you run out of your blood pressure medicine.
Medicine. Another big thing.
Yeah. On top of like, oh, you're on blood pressure medicine, and then all you did was store the shit that's actively killing you while there's no catastrophe. All you've done is stock up the stuff that's made you need blood pressure medicine. Oh, I got 2 years worth of beef jerky. I'm only going to need 2 months of it.
Eat my salty corpse when this is all done.
Exactly. It's going to be delicious, and I'll be first in line.
Okay.
Give me a taste of that long pig.
Oh, man foot.
That's what I forget where they call it long pig. That's what they call eating human meat.
God. That'd be so funny. Like, what are you guys serving that? Well, we have venison, beef, and cadaver.
Yeah. Also, pickled beets are great, man. I don't know what that guy's so upset about.
I get it.
Just remember the next day that you ate pickled beets. You don't have to go to the emergency room.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, everyone, it's time for a little dessert. But guess what? It's probably going to be savory, liquid, and it's going to be a big old bowl of slurping soup.
Ugh.
Let's get to it.
Ponte partiro, sunavi per mari, che non ho mai ero vissuto con te. Adesso si...
Tell me it's Italian wedding soup.
Hello, everybody. It's the Soup Man. My name is Cody, and I review soup on somebody else's podcast.
Yes, you do.
Today I went to Sergusa's Taste of Italy. It was a delicious place, and they had Italian wedding soup, hence the Andrea Bocelli. As requested by one Kyle Kinane, it was delicious. It had Italian sausage, delicious greens, and carrots that soaked up all of that wonderful flavor. It also had little tiny balls of noodles. I don't know what they call those. Couscous? Who knows?
Gnocchi.
7 out of 10. Solid stuff.
All right.
I dig it. Oh, by the way, CalCanane.com, ShaneIsAComedian.com. They're going to be in Milwaukee soon, right after each other, too. So you get a double header of some badass comedy, you Milwaukee maniacs. All
I
right.
was just there.
Love you guys. See you later.
Love you, Cody.
Delicioso.
I gotta go to my own website to find out when I'm gonna be in Milwaukee. I'm not gonna be anywhere
Yeah, I
near
think-
Milwaukee.
Oh, this
But
is,
thank you.
were you just in Milwaukee? Because this is a little old.
No, I was in
there.
Madison.
I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what he
Near
meant.
Milwaukee.
I was there I was there a month ago.
All right.
That's how old this email is.
Well, hey,
Or
that's
voicemail.
why he
voicemail.
put the website on there so you could find out. Cody, I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love a family style Italian meal where you get a little soup and salad and the bread's on the table. I don't care if it's old bread. I love free bread. Don't think about everybody that touched it first. I love it with the little oil and vinegar on the plate that you dip it in, and then you get
That's great.
a little cup of soup before. Oh, I love a family style. I love Palermo's restaurant in Los Feliz. Nobody likes it. I love it.
Of course you do.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at an Olive Garden for giving me all the stuff I just listed, and it's endless. That's where you go.
know what I would love?
Apocalypse, you go to Olive Garden. Camp out. It's endless. You can survive there.
This is the dumbest thing anyone's ever made. Sup? Everybody.
The restraint you
what's your-
showed for using the fart sound effect 60 minutes into the show.
Yeah. That's the kind of discipline that's going to let you survive a little longer.
This felt like the right spot.
Not in the bunker, Charlene. We got to breathe this air.
Just a quick request to Cody while this is on my mind. Apocalypse soup, what do you think you're making? Because I think we're all going to be eating a lot of stews.
I feel
in the
like,
future.
yeah, it's going to be a real cauldron over the communal fire.
Yeah. So, if you got a recipe for apocalypse soup of some kind, Cody, let us know. Rocks,
You ever,
old feet.
you ever have rabbit meat,
Yeah.
Shane? You ever eat rabbit?
I have had rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little rabbit stew.
It's actually good. Rabbit's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah,
rabbit.
so-
It was some guy in a bar just had a Tupperware on the counter.
Oh boy.
He just started eating the meat out of a Tupperware. Like, what's that? He's like, rabbit. Want some? I'm like, well, I gotta say yes.
There you go.
So I hope. Who
Well,
knows? Maybe that's why I'm so keen on eating somebody. Is I already had some.
Oh no.
Just trusting strangers Tupperware meat in Omaha on a Thursday
Ugh,
night.
God. Oh. All right, Kyle, tell them where you're at the next couple weeks. The fucking disgusting
If
phrase.
the world survives, I'll be at the Brea Improv May 9th, the La Jolla Comedy Store May 10th and 11th, and 12th, apparently, according to my website. And the Albany Funny
Okay.
Bone May 17th, 18th. That's enough for now.
Lovely. I will be with Burt Kreischer May 16th, 17th, and 18th through Oklahoma and Texas. At the end of the month, I will be May 30th, 31st, and June 1st, I will be at Dr. Grin's in Grand Rapids. And don't ask me how, but tickets are selling in this place. So please come out and buy tickets.
People like you.
And Kansas City, yeah, I guess they're starting to. We'll see how it goes. Everyone, check out the special. Blue-Eyed Mexican. Check out Kyle's special, Dirt Nep. Thanks to Charlene Connolly, as always. Thanks to our network, All Things Comedy, who has not updated us on their website in 2 years. That is an actual fact. I got cans of soups that are fresher than our last episode. We thank you all very much for listening. Please share it. We love you for listening. And we'll see you guys next week when we talk about AI. Is it good or bad?
Best ways to season long pig. AI recipes for eating other humans.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to ask AI what the best way to prepare another human for consumption is.
Save it for the Patreon. Bye-bye for now.